Hey, Kate, how are you doing today?
I'm good, brother. How are you?
Doing great, man. I'm super excited. Good month so far in my world and in my business, and I'm really excited for the 26th. So it's gonna be a blast. I know it's gonna be a lot of fun. But yeah, man. How about yourself?
I am staying busy, doing well. Yeah, I'm also extremely excited for the 26th. I know our last event was, a lot of people showed up and, it's always a good time connecting with people and learning, about people's stories. I think often when we go to those meetups, sometimes you just, kind of get a card or whatever. And, I've always tried to be intentional when I go to the meetups of learning someone's story, how they got to where they're at, what they do and specialize in. So it was awesome. It was fun, and I'm excited for the next one.
Absolutely. I agree with you, dude. It's all about relationships. It's not so much just, hey, let me pass my card. Let me pass my card to as many people as I possibly can. It is very much just let's get to know honestly who these people are. And then, when we see them the next time, we just continue to build off our previous conversation. And it's very easy, very relaxed.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Absolutely love it. Absolutely love it. Well, sweet boss. Well, I'm gonna have you jump in and share your stuff first, and then I'll go second.
Perfect. So yeah, I'm going to be going over the Tucson market today, Tucson market update. We're going to first and foremost go over sales price, the median average. So April of 2023, we recorded $329,000 as the average median sales price. And in March of 2023, it was 330,000. So we actually decreased about $1,000. One thing I want to hit on is the homes for sale. So we are seeing quite a bit of growth there. So in March of 2023, we had almost 1,800, 1,797 homes for sale. And then in April 2013, we have 1,813. So we got over the 1,800 mark. And I think someone posted just this last week, there was like 700 active homes for sale in Tucson. Um, so, um, I don't know exactly what data they were pulling, but she was an agent in Tucson. And so I saw that metric. So we are seeing the whole point is that we're seeing a lot of homes start coming back to the market versus last year. I mean, uh, you know, last year, or excuse me, 2 years ago in April 2021, we had 1,200, right? So 1,200 to 1,800, we're up 700 from 2 years ago. And then days on market. So from March 2023, the average was 10 days on market in Tucson, and April 2023 was 11. So we're seeing 1 day longer than last month, but still 11 historically is stupid fast. Just to give you some knowledge, in the highest on this graph that I'm seeing was 15 days, and that was in January and February of 2020. So for 3 years, we're still lower than we've seen average the past 3 years. Still super hot in terms of how long stuff is staying on the market. So it'll be, interesting to see all these homes that are coming to the market. How does that affect our days on market long term? So my big call to action today is going to be more business oriented. So I had a situation literally today where I got a lead from a lady out of Washington. She's an investor, she's a co-owner of an investment group that she's a part of. And she basically called and said, "Hey, I'm looking for this, this, and that." And one of the things that she wanted was creative financing. And as a realtor, it's extremely important that I knew what that was, because if I didn't, I would not have been able to help her. And so right now we're actually working on hope. And I already set an offer for her on a property. So we'll see what comes of that. But just I want to stress the importance of, regardless of the profession that you're in or the industry that you're in, it is so important to understand not just the average thing that your profession does, right? For me, it just be selling houses. What's the most average and basic thing to do to sell a house? I should be proactive and quick and willing to learn other things that can help my business. In this case, in this scenario, it was creative financing. So seller carryback, sub two, different financing strategies that specifically investors, but other people too, can use to actually buy their rental properties. So if I didn't know that, I would not have been able to help this lady or even talk with her. Right. And so that's a lead that I was able to convert and capitalize on just due to the fact that I had a little bit more knowledge than the average agent, if you will. And I actually had to educate the listing agent on what it all was and what we were thinking about doing. So just want to stress the importance that if you're watching this, regardless of the profession or industry you're in, try to be a little more proactive and not just, being a mediocre professional, right? But expanding your knowledge and getting a better grasp and understanding of what you can offer.
I love that. I love that. And I mean, I completely agree. I think expanding your knowledge even into different industries, you kind of hinted at this, but and correct me if I'm wrong, but in the real estate community, understanding basic lending practices so you can speak to those, understanding inspections and how that works and different inspections you might need, and even just the basics of how an inspection works and what they look for, so you can point that out, makes you seem more like a professional. And I completely agree.
Absolutely. And it saves you time, right? Like, let's say I have a buyer who, wants to look at a property that I know for a fact will not get, FHA financing on, and they can only get approved for FHA financing, let's say, for whatever reason. I could tell them from the jump, hey, look, that property, due to the age and the fact that it's a manufactured home, and the fact that it's on a well with 12 people on the shared well, like I can tell you right now, it's not going to get FHA approved. Right. And so if I know that, not only am I providing value to my client, but I'm also saving my business and myself a ton of time. So nothing bad comes from being more knowledgeable. Right. And so I think Alex Hermosi says it best. If anyone doesn't know who he is, just go look up his podcast or YouTube. He's amazing. But he always says to invest in yourself, invest in your own education, your own business, because you are your biggest asset, right? You could go buy, stock or rental property or whatever it is, but you will always get the best return on your investment if you just invest in yourself. And it really is true. I mean, I think that, for a lot of us, we're not where we want to be business wise. But if we can understand that concept of, man, just reinvest back into yourself to learn, you will always, always get a better return on your investment. So just again, another call to action, invest in yourself, invest in your education. That way you can serve your clients better. That's ultimately what it comes down to.
Ooh, I love that. It's music to my ears. And I agree. I think Alex Hermosi, definitely shout out to him. If you don't know who he is, definitely crazy intelligent dude. So
Super intelligent. But how about you, Drew? What's your update?
yeah, so S&P 500 down 0.82% on the last week, and then up 7.5% on the year. Russell 2000 down 1.85% last week, down 0.82% on the year. And then the Dow Jones was down 2.06%. And then last weekend down 0.37% on the year. So we had a little bit of a rough week last week. Lots of different things in the media that was coming out. I think that we're starting to see a little bit of the inflow of fear coming from First Republic Bank actually hitting the news and major media. And I think that there's just, consistent uncertainty, as well as the Biden administration trying to make some changes here in the economy. I read a little bit on this Yahoo Finance that they were talking about printing more currencies in the form of a coin and keeping it on hand to kind of work with budget issues, because I'm sure you have all heard about the government going into possible default again. So there's just a lot of uncertainty and fear. And when that strikes the market, it leads to a tendency of people to flock out of it or flock to safer things. And so we saw a little bit of that last week, especially in the institutional world. What I mean by that is retail investors, people like yourself and I, don't have as much play, and we don't have as much impact on the stock, because typically we're not multimillionaires. So we're not trading penny stocks. So like, we're not going to be making a huge move in volume on these stocks, right? But these big institutional investors, these companies that buy then run mutual funds, they do have impacts. And so when they move, that's when you see those big market dips, like the 2% down on the Dow Jones and the almost 2% down on the Russell 2000. So there's that. My biggest call to action is very similar to yours. So I came across an individual who was speaking about his company and the products that they tend to offer. And he was talking to me, and he was very much aggressive in his tonality and speaking to me as if his product was superior. And I just want to point out that, similar to what Kate had said earlier, educating yourself in the industry is very important, and not sticking to just maybe what your company has to offer, but truly understanding, because in this particular case, it was regarding insurance, and his insurance, he claimed, was the only insurance that was important and the only insurance that was necessary. And so I, had to step in and say, no, there are other options to insurance that might fit specific needs, whether that's term or permanent. We don't know what specifically will fit this individual's needs. And so wanting to make sure that you're not specifically buying into just one type of product. You're not just buying VULs. You're not just buying IULs. You're not just buying whole life insurance. You're not just buying term. You're buying what best fits for you. And if you come across an agent selling insurance or any financial product in the marketplace that says that this product is perfect for everybody and saying it on a blanket statement, that's not a correct statement, because not every product is perfect for every person purchasing it. And so I just wanted to share that, because you will come across with people who will say that their product is superior and that it doesn't make sense to do anything other than this product. And that's not entirely true, because I see times when term makes sense, whereas all the other insurance products, and it is very situational and very dependent upon the circumstances as which the client is under. So
Yeah, Drew, do you think in that specific situation, the guy that you were talking with was just simply uneducated, or did he firmly believe he was educated and he just firmly believed that his product was the best and he was just kind of a sly salesperson, if you will?
so throughout that conversation, I poked lots of holes. I think he was just uneducated. I think he really didn't understand, and he grew up in this world where he was just always surrounded by this philosophy, and this philosophy is what he has practiced in his life. And so that's how he saw his specific situation. And when I was able to give him scenarios as to which alternative insurance would have been more beneficial, because things happen in life that you can't predict, right? And so when I was able to poke holes and point it out, I think he began to relieve himself a little bit and say, like, oh, okay, like I get that there is specific scenarios for specific situations that maybe this makes sense. And that was the whole concept of mine, right? Because I don't necessarily disagree with his philosophy, because it does work and they made a company out of it, right? But I don't think that his philosophy is the perfect philosophy for everybody. So
That makes sense. Yeah.
absolutely. Absolutely. So, and I think honestly, it's geared towards, and will be my final point. I think that when you're geared towards a specific type of clientele where they all fit into the same puzzle piece category, because you can generalize individuals, right? Then a certain situation, like if you're dealing with the ultra wealthy who are looking for tax strategies and places to put money to get tax-free dollars out in the future, a whole life or permanent life insurance makes sense. If you're dealing with term insurance and you're dealing with low income households or households who don't prioritize insurance, so they don't want to spend a lot of money and they just want to use it as more of a, hey, if something happens to me, I know my family's taken care of, then a term product might work. But you flip those roles, it would make no sense for a person who's ultra wealthy, trying to create tax strategies for himself to buy term. It just wouldn't work. As well as inversely, you wouldn't be able to expect a low income family to be able to afford an expensive whole life policy. So it's all just dependent upon the clientele.
That makes sense. Yeah. Yeah. Again, education's important, right?
Absolutely. And again, just knowing everything about your industry and not being naive and keeping an open mind. I think that's also super important. If someone says something and you say, oh, that kind of goes against my beliefs, but I'm actually going to look into it and see. That way, how to, because worst case scenario, you prove to yourself that you're right. And now you know how to overcome objections when people question you. So
Right.
that can possibly happen because you know the answers to those objections.
Right. Yeah. No, that makes sense. Absolutely. So
Perfect.
you got a quote for us?
Sir. So my quote of the day is opportunities don't just happen, you create them. And I felt like this was really good because it is the week before our meetup. And so, surrounding yourself with those types of people who can A, provide those opportunities, or B, are getting those opportunities is really important. And NGRN is the perfect platform to surround yourself with those kinds of people.
Absolutely. And when is our next one, Drew, for anyone who doesn't know?
May 26th from 5:30 to 8:30 at the Sands.
Perfect. If you guys, so last meetup, I parked in a parking spot I wasn't supposed to, and I got a warning ticket. So just if you guys are watching this, feel free to park at the Cherry Avenue parking garage. That's probably the best place. And then just make your way over to gate one, go up to level 5 in the elevator.
Perfect. Perfect.
That'd
Where'd you
be,
park?
that'd
I'm
be fun.
curious.
I parked on the other side of the football stadium, opposite of the Cherry Avenue, like in one of those parking spots. So I think I need to get a pass or something.
Underneath the stands.
No, no, no.
Oh, okay. Okay. Because there's a simple fix. You just got to get the red sticker and you can park underneath the stands over
Yeah,
there.
I think I'll have to go get one, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sweet. All right, man. Well, you take care. And for those of you watching, I look forward to seeing you on next Friday. Really excited.
Yep. Sounds good. See y'all later.
Adios.